The BBC was forced to scrap much of its weekend sports programming as the network scrambled to stem an escalating crisis over a suspension of soccer host Garry Lineker for comments criticizing the British government's new asylum policy. Instead of blanket coverage on Saturday of the most popular league in the world, the BBC had no premiere shows on radios or TV and no early summary of the final scores of Premier League games. Football Focus was replaced with a rerun episode Bargain Hunt, while early evening final score was swapped for the repair shop, Larry or punditry. Just cheers from the stadium crowds for a soundtrack. Alan Shearer, Alex Scott, and Ian Whites, who tweeted they will be not appearing in solidarity with him.
What they're doing again is like the culture war they want us to all have. Left versus right. Wokery. Oh, you're woke, you're woke. That is the distraction. And this, I'll tell you something. If they do, BBC, get rid of Garry Lineker, I'm out. I'm gone. I'm not staying there.
Presenters, analysts, and English Premier League players rallied in support of Lineker by boycotting the airwaves on Saturday, as the Britain national broadcaster was accused of political bias and suppressing free speech and received praise from conservative politicians. The former English captain was suspended from the match of the day after he criticized the government's plan to detain and deport migrants arriving by boat in a Twitter post that compared lawmakers' language about migrants to that used in Nazi Germany. The BBC said it was sorry for the interruption and changes and that they are working hard to resolve the situation and hope to do so soon.
Anything that outlandish, so it's got a right to say what you're saying. As long as he isn't causing overly offense, being racist, homophobic and none of that stuff, then he ain't doing that wrong.
He is employed and people do pay him to talk about football.
Sure.
Like that is what your job is.
Sure.
And therefore you have a choice to make. If you want to keep your job, then you need to talk about what your job is about.
I think he's a sports journalist and his opinions on politics are separate to that. I think if he said it on Match of the Day, it's a different story, but he didn't. I think he should be allowed to tweet what he wants within the parameters of the law.
The Prime Minister issued a statement saying that I hope that the current situation between Garry Lineker and the BBC can be resolved in a timely manner. But it is a matter for them, not the government. We need to break this cycle of misery once and for all. It is not only the fair and moral thing to do, it is also the compassionate thing to do. The Match of the Day, the late night program that had been a British institution for 60 years, was reduced from the usual hour and a half of highlights and analysis to a 20-minute compilation of clips. 100-year-old BBC, which is funded by a license fee paid by all households with a television, has a duty to be impartial in its news coverage, and BBC news staff are barred from expressing political opinions. For MMU TV News, I'm Okoth Collins.